Hi guys, Later here. So today I have another video on World of Warcraft emulation with FreecraftCore and GladNet3. In the past day or two, I can't remember exactly, there's been a significant refactoring in the design for creating a server emulator in GladNet3 and how it handles incoming messages, sessions, and stuff like that. So first, I'm going to go ahead and run some of the code for this test. So we'll start our server, and I also have a little client that sends some auth logon challenges that'll be received. And it sends a lot of them. It's not set up properly, so it'll encounter some exceptions. But as you can see, it can receive quite a few connections. A few of them are rejected because right now there's no way to configure the maximum connections, which I'll do later, but it's able to accept quite a few connections at once and service quite a few packets. And in contrast, I think I have, yes I do, I can start up the actual Trinity Core authentication server, and we can see that it does quite a good job actually. It's able to handle quite a few requests, and it does quite a bit more because it's actually handling them. But we'll get there eventually in comparison to Trinity Core. Now, I guess I should go through, first we'll take a look at GladNet and the TCP server application, which it's not perfect yet, the design's not final. But I wanted to show you that we actually no longer use any threads at all. We are now just dispatching purely on the thread pool, reading and writing happening in place, although they don't have to, because I've created right here dispatching strategy, which is something similar to what's spoken about by Blizzard at GDC and how they handle messages coming in. And right now we only have a single dispatching strategy, which is to just dispatch immediately, no routing, no queuing, no nothing. Although, this design allows you to configure that. We also have something called a session, a managed session, and this is in fact where messages are eventually going to end up. It encapsulates some information about the session, which is the connection, the client address, which is not completely set up yet. And so the idea is, I'll hop into the test server that we've got running down here. Oh, no, that's a serializer. Yeah, right here. So we've got something called an auth server client session. So we have a few dependencies. We've got this, there's a design issue, conflict really, so I've got this mock up here because we don't have anything for the server for it. And we also have this message handler service, which is injected or provided as a dependency. So basically in the on-network message received, which does exactly what it says, we just dispatch this to the handling service. So we don't handle messages in place on the connection. We build a context which contains the connection, a service to send, this thing, which again is design fault, need to address that, and also the message. And eventually this ends up into a handler that can handle it. For example, here's a peer payload specific message handler, which handles a payload of a specific type. And this is the default one, so it can handle any type of payload. And it just logs that we received an unhandleable payload. And then we also have one that actually handles something, the auth logon challenge, which is just going to log the build that this request is coming from, and it's also going to indicate the current count so that you can, just for demonstration purposes. And the cool thing with this is you can put all of these into a single assembly, and then what you can do is, although it's not set up yet, because we only have one, I just decided to register it manually in the container. You can just resolve every single type. You can just register every type in the assembly, the handler assembly, and then you can resolve them all because it's actually a dependency for the message handler service. And so yeah, so that's pretty cool. We'll get into that stuff a little later. That allows you to do quite a few interesting things. I won't talk about just now because we're running low on time. But yeah, so here's essentially what happens. You can actually provide a network message dispatching strategy to the base of the server application. So that's how you can provide message routing logic, which could include locking, could include routing to other services or servers, and it's essentially what Blizzard has talked about or it's the design foundation for implementing what Blizzard had talked about at GDC for message routing and locking for handling, multiple messages at once. And you don't really have to worry about on the auth server. The default strategy only lets one message from one client being handled at once, but it can handle hundreds of messages at once from all sorts of different clients. And so yeah, that's the general design. You create handlers. You can create services or dependencies of the handlers and get them in through the container, and you can do some stuff down here. Just like before, we create a response, send the message, and then disconnect. And we've also got the default, so if you receive anything you can't handle, it doesn't crash, we actually get to the default handler. And so yeah, that's basically it. The idea is we'll create these sessions. They'll encapsulate the connection. You can add some logic here. This will be expanded, obviously it's not finished. And you can route to, if you want, to the actual handlers, and eventually a handler will pick it up, a handler that can handle it. It's going to go to the right spot. That's all been handled. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to configure that. So that's it for today, guys. I'm actually going to do something interesting. With Entity Framework 7, I'm going to implement some database stuff with the Trinity Core database. I've decided for now that no reason to redo the database, even though I could. We're just gonna work with Trinity Core database, and we're gonna use Entity Framework to sort of query that. And I'm actually going to implement the authentication server, the logic. You're gonna actually see a working server soon, tonight or tomorrow. It depends on what slows me down. And I'm gonna start working on that as soon as I go eat. I'm about to go eat. So yeah, that's it for today. Some major design changes which are for the better and for, very, very useful for other emulation projects, including if we ever go to the world server. It's very important to have a good design when you've got to handle hundreds and hundreds of different payloads and packets, and somehow have to associate those messages with each other, pass those around to services or even other services as Blizzard does. Actual applications. They actually go outside the application, I'm pretty sure. I'll link the GDC talk in which they talk a little bit about that. They also talk about serializer similar to FreecraftCore, where they do code generation and then compile that. So yeah, that's where I got the idea for that. But wow, this video is way too long. Hopefully it was interesting to some of you guys. And that's it for today. Don't have anything else. So thanks for watching, guys. It's pretty cool this all's coming together. It's only been a couple days where the server emulation's even been possible with GladNet. After just a whim, really. Just was like, hey, I'll sit down and we'll add the ability to emulate servers. And it took very little time, which I was very happy about. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll try to have some more interesting content for you later. See you in the next video.